To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's the wild ride in the whistle.
When invisibility travel doors change.
So today on Miles from Main Street, Brian is back. It's good to have you back, Brian.
Hey, me too. I'm glad to be back. You know, it was busy last week. Had a holiday go by, right? So missed you guys. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be talking about Disney again. Sounds like you guys had a pretty good episode last week. I enjoyed listening to it.
Yeah, we brought in my buddy Luke, who gave us a pretty fantastic trip report, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah, I wish I could have been here to hear it, to talk to him about it. But listening to it's been fun. But that brought me to another point. You know, if anybody out there listening, if you guys want to come on and tell us about your recent trip, I think that'd be a great idea. I'd love to have more people on here and telling us about their experiences, their time at Disney World. If you go to Disneyland, that would be great too. We would love to have you on the show. We can talk about your trip, what you got to do. Every time someone goes on a trip, I learn something new when I talk to them. So I would love to hear from anyone out there that's gone on a trip. We can definitely do something on the show. If that's something that interests you, contact us through the Facebook page or our email, milesfrommainstreetpodcast@gmail.com. That'd be great.
Yeah, and then maybe you'll become a regular facet on the show, like Luke slowly had been turning into.
You never know how things might work out, but yeah, we'd love to hear from anyone.
Yeah, and we love kind of getting those different experiences, things that we haven't been able to do. So that's always fun to hear. And again, I echo Brian, where every time I talk to somebody about their trip, I learn something new.
Yes, and what a way to stay connected to Disney, right? Just by talking about and living through other people's experiences. So I think that's definitely something we need to add more of to our show.
Definitely. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the show that we have for you guys today. We are going to be talking about non-park day stuff, things that you can do that isn't going to a Disney park at Disney World. I know I've got a couple things. Brian, you probably have a couple things too. Some of these things are things that I haven't even been able to do. They're just things that I know that you can do. And Disney just has so many things that you are able to do. I'm just always in the parks constantly. But when you're not in the parks and you're just hanging out for a day, there's tons of things that you can do. So I'm going to start out. And this is something that I like to do. And I know, Brian, you like to do too. And I'm just going to put it out there right away so we can mention it, talk about it, and move on. But that's just resort hop. And I think this is always kind of like my go-to thing when I have a day off from the parks, is to hotel hop and kind of hit all the different hotels around Disney. And usually what I'll do is I'll go to the monorail loop and hit all the hotels around the monorail loop. And then after that, you kind of have to use Disney buses to all the other places you want to go to, but you can also use the gondolas, because the gondolas are also connected to a whole bunch of different hotels on Disney property. But that's always something really fun to do. Luke mentioned in his trip report about how he did that, and his mom was able to go and see all of the different Christmas trees at all of the different resorts. So that's something you can do. You can go check out these resorts, see if you like certain resorts, see if it's somewhere you might want to stay in another trip. But that's probably my go-to, and I know we've mentioned it a lot on this channel, but just definitely my go-to thing that I think about first when I don't have a park day is to kind of go hang out at the Disney hotels.
One of the really cool things about these resorts is that they do a really good job of making you like immersed into the theme of whatever the resort is that you're at. And I I experienced it the best when I was hopping around the monorail loop, and you'd go from the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian over to the Contemporary, and it just felt like you stepped into a new world each time. And they're so good at it that my mind would just kind of all of a sudden switch, and I wouldn't even realize that I was just at the Polynesian or I was just at the Contemporary, whatever it might be. They've got so many great resorts, and you mentioned the buses, but with the Skyliner now, you can do a Skyliner loop where you might want to hop to a few different places, whether it be to get a drink or maybe a dessert. Um, you can do that, as I sit around the monorail, but you can do it with boats too. I've talked about the Disney Springs boat rides there. You can get to a bunch of different places. So you don't just have to jump on a bus. You might have to get on a bus to get to a certain loop, but you can make quite an event out of it. I've seen progressive dinners on those. It's just a great way to visit each resort and find different things out about them.
Yeah, and I've done this before where this on my last trip, I actually charted out exactly what you would have to do to ride the whole gondola loop and then get onto the monorail and then do the monorail loop, because the gondolas will take you to Epcot. And then you can go from Epcot, get on the monorail, and then get all the way to the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then from there get on to the monorail loop with all of the Magic Kingdom hotels. So that's definitely a thing you can do. The one thing I didn't take into account when putting that together was the fact that you have to like walk through Epcot to get to the front of Epcot. I'm not sure if you can get off that area at the international gateway and not go into Epcot. Like, I don't think there's like a path or something that you can take. So I'm pretty sure you'd have to go through Epcot and then get to the front of the park. So my plan didn't happen anyways because of how crazy the Skyliner was when we went. But that's definitely something that you could do. Like if you had park hoppers or something crazy like that, you'd be able to do that. Just kind of how everything's connected there.
Yeah, that's such a great idea to try to Skyliner to monorail, something like that. That's great. But I think my favorite activity for a non-park day would just to be hanging out at the pool, your resort pool. Have a snack, maybe a drink. Almost I think, yeah, every single one of them has a bar of some sort, a snack bar. And you can just enjoy your day. You can bring food over if you wanted, but you can enjoy the day there swimming. I like to have a dinner set at the end of the day so that it gives us a reason to get cleaned up. We'll go and have that nice dinner. On our last trip, we would swim most of the day, and then we would get cleaned up, and we would go to kind of like an early lunch, and that partly because that was the reservation I was able to get. But we would go over to Disney Springs, have a dinner, and then we would come back and we would be able to swim at night. Which, I mean, come on, who gets to swim at night, right? That doesn't happen very often. So the kids love it to be able to be swimming out at night. And my daughter was just like a fish any of those days. She just wanted to get right back in the pool. So yeah, we would go to dinner, come back and jump in the pool again, and it was just a blast. This last trip was more of a, we'll go to the parks, but let's also take time to relax. So we had a few pool days in there, which was great.
Yeah, and this is gonna quickly turn into a random things that Kylo and Brian talk about episode, but I was just thinking, so I never got to hang out at the pool at the hotel that I stayed at my last trip, because it wasn't a Disney hotel and they had like gates around it. So after a certain time, you couldn't go in there. However, I seem to remember, I mean, I feel like I've been in Disney hotel pools at like 1 a.m. And that's because everything is like wide open all the time. And I don't know if this is like an unwritten rule, like the lifeguard isn't there, so you can't be there, or a written rule. I guess that would be a written rule. But I've definitely done that before. Like I remember several trips where we like would just be in the pool like super late. And so I don't know, Brian, if you've done that before, or if you've seen that before. But that's something I've always thought of, is like, do the pools have like rules where you can't be in there unless there's a lifeguard, and if there isn't a lifeguard, then it's like nobody can use the pool at all?
No, I haven't experienced that. I have seen at 10 or 11 o'clock when they close that they get everybody out in their Disney kindness way that they do it, and they lock the doors and you're not allowed in until they open in the morning. I maybe they use it for cleaning time, I don't know, but yeah, they cut that last piece.
Yeah, I maybe it was just something that we were doing that we weren't supposed to be doing. But that always seemed, I miss that. And I feel like I'm always coming back to the resorts when the pool is closed, because I'm usually coming back to the resorts at like midnight or 1. And so like really, and this last trip, the only time I would have been able to use the pool would have been like right after we got back from the park.
Another thing with pool days, though, is that I have seen people pool hop. There are some, and it's mostly going to be in the deluxe area, that they may restrict who can be in there. But you can maybe hop from pool to pool. That's the easiest to do, maybe at the all-star resorts. But, like if you go over to the beach club and want to go swimming at Stormalong Bay, you got to be staying there. They're checking. They make sure that you're staying there to be able to get in. But most places, they aren't necessarily checking that. So you could go to different places and swim at a pool if you wanted.
That's actually pretty cool. That's something I've never done before. And it's funny, I've always thought like, hey, it'd be cool to go swimming at this pool. And I think at one point, it was the Polynesian pool that I was kind of like, we should come here sometime. And I think like the very next trip I went on, they had it all blocked off and there was gates around it. And then I was like, oh no, can't do that anymore.
So what's next on your list? What else do you like to do if you're not in a park?
So kind of going along with yours is things at the hotel. So you got the pool. The pool is fun. There's lots of activities at the pool. Most of the pools are amazing pools that you can spend a whole day hanging out at that pool. But another thing that they do at these hotels is they give you all kinds of cool activities just at the hotel itself. Everything from like decorating cookies to dance parties to trivia games, stuff like that. They're always having something go on. I feel like most of the time when I show up to the hotel right around check-in time, like 3 o'clock, that's when like stuff's always happening. And it makes a lot of sense. So it's like you get to your hotel and there's all these cool activities happening and you get really excited about your vacation. But yeah, there's stuff going on at your hotel. Probably the coolest thing I see that they do are these like movies that they do they're usually over by the pool, but they have those like big inflatable projection screens, and you can just sit there and eat popcorn and watch a Disney movie under the stars at Disney World. That always looks really fun. But I mean, again, most of the time I'm coming home from a park, and either it's done or it's almost done when I get back. So I'm never really around to experience stuff like that. But if you were going to spend an entire day at your hotel, they definitely have things for you to do.
We actually happened upon a dance party happening at the Polynesian when we were there one day, and the kids loved that. They jumped right in, had no problem getting into the dancing there. The other thing with these movies at night, under the stars, as they say, uh, they provide popcorn and a blanket for you to sit on. A lot of times it might be in that like turf grass type area that they have it around the resort somewhere. But, and this is pre-pandemic. So hopefully, if it hasn't come back, that will come back, the whole blanket and popcorn thing. And if you're coming back from a park and they're showing a movie, feel free to stop by and grab a bag of popcorn. They'll give you one. They aren't going to worry about whether you're actually watching the movie or not. I did see on our last trip, they were doing some movies at the Contemporary, and the poor guy would be out there getting things going, and they'd only have a few people watching. But, as long as they have someone there, they don't care. It was really cool. And I think that that's a great activity that they offer. But you were saying like making cookies. I've never seen the cookies. I'd be interested to see that. I think that'd be fun. I have seen the t-shirts where they'll tie-dye t-shirts, and these are like one of a kind deals. Like I've seen these things in their completed form, and they look really nice. Well worth, it seems like at $15, it seems expensive, but the finished product is worth the $15. And you're getting a one of a kind shirt to take home. So definitely check out those activities. I think that they make it well worth your time.
Brian, do you know where the tie-dye shirt thing happens?
Well, typically, though, I've seen it done around the pool. I've seen it on rain days be in the lobby area or next to the food court. I'm particularly thinking of Art of Animation. It was kind of a rainy day, so they had put it in like that walkway between the lobby and the gift shop into the, like that whole area into the cafeteria food court. But yeah, usually they'll do them outside near the pool, the main pool. But yeah, that's where I've seen them being done.
Yeah, I would have to say Miss Kristen Henning would probably be really interested in that because she loves tie-dye stuff. So she'd probably really enjoy that.
Yes, absolutely. You'll have to make sure that she gets to do one of those if you ever get her there.
So Brian, what's next on your list?
My next one, I guess, would be Disney Springs. You've heard me talk about the boat ride from Disney Springs to Port Orleans numerous times, and I'm going to say it again because that's one of my favorite activities to do. And it's a nice, relaxing ride. Port Orleans, that whole area is really relaxing as well. If you ask me, take the boat over to Port Orleans French Quarter, grab yourself some beignets, and then, or I should say, some powdered sugar with a side of beignets. Then head back to Disney Springs where you can do some shopping. You can get some food. You can bowl. If anyone's into bowling, you can bowl. Apparently, the bowling alley has the best sushi on property. Cirque du Soleil just opened their new show, Drawn to Life. You can go up in a balloon 400 feet into the air and see the entire property from up there. I have yet to do it. I've tried. a few times, and it's always been raining or too windy or whatever excuse. It's not going to work. So I'm watching Mikhailo here. He's kind of bobbing back and forth. I was watching, and maybe I said this on a previous episode, but I was watching Resort TV 1, and they were doing another activity there. They're out on the amphicar and getting the tour from the lake, and they kept showing the balloon, which was up in the air, swaying back and forth as they struggled to get it down. Nobody got hurt. It's all enclosed, so you can't really fall out of it or anything. But it's something that they are really careful with. And so if it was up there and swaying like that, I don't think they were expecting the wind to come up. So it was interesting. Like, you're tethered, so you're not going anywhere, but that thing will go swaying back and forth.
Yeah, I've seen videos of, and it's called Characters in Flight. I've seen videos of that thing, and I think it was Justin Scard that went on it, and it was like a calm day, and he was freaking out up there that it was kind of like moving back and forth. So I can only imagine what it's like on a blustery day for Characters in Flight.
Yeah, there were like, when we went up the first time, like there was a little bit of wind, but I didn't think it was a big deal. They're like, oh no, we can't take this thing up. So that was unfortunate. I've tried it. Like I said, I've tried a couple times, but if you can get up there, the views I've heard are just amazing. So Disney Springs has a ton to do.
Yeah, and this was one of my big ones because, I mean, if you're not at the parks and you're not hotel hopping, then you're at Disney Springs. That's like, and Disney Springs is an attraction within itself. Kind of like, it's like really its own park. Like you could spend a whole day kind of the same way that you attack a park at Disney Springs. And I think, and I this is how nerdy I am about all of this. I've already kind of talked through how I want to attack, because on the trip that I'm going on, we have our last day is a non-park day. Our last day before we go to the park that may not be named, but our last day is like a Disney Springs resort hopping day. And we're literally attacking Disney Springs kind of the same way we attack a park. So, but I mean, it's going to be kind of like half Disney Springs, half hotel hopping. But it's just, there's so much to do. You can really go at it and spend an entire day just doing all the things that you can do at Disney Springs. And I feel like every time I've been there, I just haven't done enough. I'm usually going there to do one thing, like we're going to Raglan Road, or we're going to just like a reservation that we have. I've never really kind of attacked Disney Springs as a whole day and like done the shopping and done the dining and done the entertainment, because there's really everything there. You've got entertainment, you've got dining, you've got shopping. There's just a full gamut of things that you can do at Disney Springs. So that's definitely something on my bucket list of something that I would like to do is attack Disney Springs the same way that I attack parks. But it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that this coming trip. But it's definitely something that you can do if you've got a free day, and hotel hopping isn't something that you want to do and you don't want to spend all your time at the pool. You can get lost and just have like a full day of stuff at Disney Springs.
There's also, if you don't want to do all that shopping, but if you get like back behind House of Blues, there's a pretty long walkway right along the lake that you can take and kind of get like your Sunday afternoon stroll in and
Get your steps in. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can get a little relaxing walk in. So um there's just yeah, Disney Springs, like I've heard a lot of people say it's the fifth gate that everyone keeps talking about because there's just so much to do there now.
Definitely. So I believe it's my turn, and I'm going to talk about something that I mean, we've talked about all these things that you can do, um, and when I'm at Disney, I really am kind of just going and going and going, and always looking for something to do, always waking up early, being first in line, all the time. And we're always doing this stuff. But another thing you can do on a day off is sleep in. That's
Nobody does that.
honestly, yeah, well, yeah, and that's the thing is that like I say that, and that's almost like sacrilegious because when you're at Disney, you're at Disney, so you just gotta be able to take in as much as you can, and that's kind of always that's my mantra, is when I'm at Disney, I'm up early, I'm just taking in everything as much as I can, but if you have a couple days off and one of these days you can just sleep in and have a lazy day, go for it. Like more power to you. My my parents do this all the time. They will, and honestly, I think they enjoy that a lot more than when I am just ushering them through the park. There's been a couple trips where I think they really enjoyed me playing tour guide for them, where I would just take them all around the park, showing them everything. And they had a lot of fun then. But I feel like now when we take them to Disney, they are sleeping in, they're getting to the parks late, they're hanging out at the resorts most of the time. So it's just kind of however you wanna do your vacation. And like Brian says all the time, and I'm gonna try to take this to heart and do my best to kind of slow down everywhere I go. I'm still getting there. Like I'm gonna be still first in line, but trying to go through these parks and trying to really kind of take my time. If that's what you like to do, go ahead and sleep in and get to parks late. I mean, I would suggest having several days to do Disney if you're going to do something like this. But if that's how you want a vacation, just go for it. And especially if you have a day off, go ahead and sleep in.
The beautiful thing about these resorts is that they know that you might be trying to sleep during the day, and they have very good room darkening curtains in their hotels. The first time we took our kids, we ended up on a kind of a late shift type of schedule where we wouldn't go until later, and then we would stay until midnight or later if it was possible. And this was we were doing the Halloween party. We were just staying out late because of the extra magic hours being late at night, and we just had a blast doing that. But the kids were tired. When you're getting back at 1 o'clock in the morning, you got to let the kids sleep a little bit. So I can remember sneaking out of the room early in the morning. Well, not early, but to go get some breakfast for my wife and I, and the kids sleeping until 11 noon, maybe, because we didn't have anything planned that day. So let them get their rest. And then, ended up hitting the park at 6 o'clock that night after getting some rest in. And that was just kind of the schedule we ended up on. Was everything was running really late. So we were able to get everything done we wanted to do and avoid some of the crowds that way. It was wonderful. So sleeping in, yeah, that's going to be quite easy with the way that they have those curtains set up. Keep it nice and dark in there.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe it's all you, Brian. You are up next.
One of my favorite things is Fort Wilderness. We went camping there and it was amazing. If you want to go camping there and you do want to do the parks, I would recommend 2 weeks. because we left and we still felt like we didn't have enough time to see all of the campground. Like there's just so much to do. You can do archery, you can do horseback rides, you can do Segway tours, you you can get on a golf cart. You can rent one either from somewhere off property or from Disney themselves, and take it around the whole area. Take it around the campground, check out everything on the property, which is just awesome to be able to do something like that. Riding around in the golf cart was something that I enjoyed more than I thought I was going to. You can go to Trails End Buffet, which is one of the more affordable buffets on property, and it's good. They've got ribs, they've got chicken, all of that kind of Texas down home type of meal, type of food. That's really good. But you've got your favorite show, the Hoop-de-Doo Review, over there. Hopefully that'll be returning soon. And then if you don't want to pay for all of these items that I'm bringing up, they do have the Circle D Ranch, and you can go and see the horses. You can talk to and possibly even pet the horses that are pulling Cinderella's carriage down Main Street. This is where they get to live when we're not seeing them over in the Magic Kingdom.
And these are celebrities, people. Celebrity horses.
Yes. And I should say the name correctly. It's the Tri-Circle D Ranch. So they were working on putting in Reflections, and that's been put on hold because of the pandemic. But to make room for it, they had to clear out the old stable, and they've built a brand new palace, which looks amazing. So I have not been over to see that yet, but they do have a second ranch up near the buses where that's where the horseback ride will leave from. And they've got some of the horses there too. And we got to visit with some of them there, and the cast members love to talk to people about the horses, tell you anything you want to know. And they don't charge for any of that. You can just go and talk to them. This is one of the pools that they don't have anyone checking. That door was wide open all day. If you wanted to go swimming there, you didn't have any problem doing that. So you could definitely do that. The last thing I'll say is, if you're there around the holidays, whether it's Halloween or Christmas, the decorating of campsites is off the charts. It's just another attraction in itself. Something, with the price of a golf cart, if you want, or you can walk, however you want to do it. It's amazing to see these decorations and how people will put time into, like, they were making full haunted houses at one time. That's been kind of squelched a little bit by Disney because they said that they can't build anything that people walk under. So it's been harder for people to do that, but still off the hook decorations.
Yeah, and this is something I've never done before. I've been to the Fort Wilderness because I've been to Hoop-de-Doo. It was a long time ago, but I've never really explored that whole area back there. And it is an area. It's very large. So that's another bucket list thing where I really want to get myself out there and enjoy a lot of that area. Maybe, Brian, when we finally go together, you can take me on a tour of that whole area.
That would be awesome. I would love to do that.
So I'm going to end. My last one is one that I really want to be able to do one day, and that is golf. We talked about golf a little bit on the last episode because my friend Luke and I golf together. And so, of course, he was going to be able to go golfing because he went on vacation for like 9 days or something crazy. But definitely hitting one of the Disney golf courses is something that I've always wanted to do. It's definitely a dream of mine, is to be able to go. And it's just, we talked about this already a little bit, but it's just so reasonable. Like, I've paid a lot of money to golf places before, and I'll probably pay even more money to golf at other places. But to golf at Disney, it's really not any more than to golf somewhere local, which I think is just so cool. It's just, and there isn't really any one golf course that like, oh, this is the fancy golf course. They're all pretty reasonable. So I think that's great. And that it really lends it towards being a golf area for everyone. And you don't really feel like it's too stuffy or anything like that. If my buddy Luke can take his golf game and feel comfortable there, then I think you should be able to too. Nothing against Luke's golf game, but yeah, that's just definitely a bucket list thing that I want to be able to do. Just kind of taking my love of golf and my love of Disney and putting it together into one epic day of 18 holes, I think would be very, very cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there as well. And I know they even offer foot golf now too. So if you want to kick a soccer ball instead of chasing a little golf ball, you can do that. So definitely something that if I could ever get myself not to be spending so much time in a park, then I would definitely go and do that. Check that out.
And that's what this list is all about, Brian.
So we'll finish up with fireworks, because watching it in a park is not the only way to watch fireworks. So if you have a non-park day, you can still finish your day with fireworks, and it's fun. There are a lot of great places to watch fireworks from. If we're over at the Magic Kingdom in particular, you could watch from that Fort Wilderness Beach if you wanted. The Polynesian has a beach that's really great, and the music is all pumped in for you, so you can hear it from there. The Grand Flow has a beach. It also has, I believe, a pier that you can stand out on and watch. And they've got the music all pumped in there. One of my favorite places would be the Contemporary, though. I've talked about California Grill and being able to watch from up there. They only allow you up there if you've had a meal during the day there at any point. So keep your receipt and come on back, and they'll let you go up and watch it from their balcony. But they also have a platform on the 4th floor. So if you think about the Contemporary and how it was built with that A-frame, the A, like the pillars that make the letter A, those are stairwells. So if you go out the platform area, which you get out there by going from the Grand Canyon Concourse, and you'll get to the bridge that heads over to Bay Lake Tower. But if you do that and you take a left instead of a right onto the bridge, you'll head over into this area. They actually have a few seats that face the Magic Kingdom, so you can watch fireworks. If that's too busy, if there's too many people there, you can go up the stairs at any level and watch the fireworks from up there. So if you did want to get a higher view of it, you could go up to that 12th, 13th, 14th floor and watch them from up there. It's a great place to watch them. I don't know if the music is pumped out onto that 4th floor or not. But it's so cool to see it anyway. So many places to watch fireworks from there.
Yeah, I've definitely I've never watched fireworks from the Contemporary. I will, however, on my trip that I'm going on, because the very first day that we are going to California Grill, and we are going to be getting there at 9 o'clock. So hopefully we've got some fireworks to watch when we're there, because that's the idea. We're going to try to get there a little bit early, and hang out there and watch the fireworks. But I have been, I mean, I've walked all over Contemporary before, and we have snuck into one of these little areas. It's not really sneaking; it's sneaking for us because we're not staying there. But one of those areas you're talking about, kind of on the side of the A-frame building, and it's. I thought the same thing. I was like, "Oh my god! Like watching fireworks here would be so perfect because you're facing Magic Kingdom, and you're up high, and I'm sure it would look amazing." I think we had to hold the door because the doors maybe locked behind us. I don't think we knew if they locked behind us. We just didn't want to get locked out anywhere. But that's definitely something that I've done before, is kind of go all over Contemporary and look at all of the places that you might be able to watch the fireworks. Obviously, the best place is California Grill with the music pumped in and everything. But there are several places to be able to do that around Contemporary. I've even heard of, I'm not sure where this is, and maybe we're going to cut this from the episode, maybe not. But I heard, maybe this is at the Polynesian, there are certain like villas that you have like that you have a jacuzzi built in, and there are certain ones that you can sit in your jacuzzi and you can see Cinderella's castle perfectly, and you can see the fireworks and everything. I've heard that before, and I think I watched a video of somebody explaining that, but I can't remember exactly where that is.
So I think what you're talking about is the bungalows that are out in the water, where it's not like a hot tub. It's, what do they call it? Like a splash pool or cool down pool or something. I can't remember exactly what they call it, but you can enjoy that. They have music, the music pumped into your bungalow, which they better for the amount of money you spend on one of those. But I mean, until they put those, or once they put those in, that was the best view of fireworks outside of the park. So, if you're gonna go to another park and watch, it's hard to see them at Epcot, but if you go to the International Gateway in between the beach club and the boardwalk, there is a bridge in that area. You can catch a lot of the fireworks from there. Hollywood Studios, again, is going to be difficult. You pretty much are going to have to try to watch from the gate. There's not really a spot there. My wife and I tried one night to sit on the beach at the beach club and catch fireworks from both parks. And it was hard because the boardwalk gets in your way. So, there's spots that you can probably go and relax out in front of Hollywood Studios, but you're not really going to be able to catch much from there. And then, of course, Animal Kingdom, they don't have anything, so there's nothing to worry about with that. But lots of places to watch fireworks. You can definitely see fireworks every day you're there, whether you're in the park or not. And I would recommend doing it every day if you can.
Definitely. Yeah, I would recommend that too. There's really no escaping it. If you want to see fireworks, you're going to see fireworks. But yeah, that just kind of wraps up everything that we're talking about. There's so much to do there. I mean, and we were talking about non-park days. Most of the time we do talk about things that we're doing in the parks. There's so much to do in the parks, but there's just so much to do outside of the parks, so much outside entertainment that Disney is giving you that's not just a park day. And that just speaks volumes of all of the stuff that you can do on Disney property. It's just crazy. Like, and I haven't even scratched the surface of everything that you can do on Disney property, and I'm currently recording a podcast about it. So that should tell you something.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much you can do, from fireworks cruises to special shoot. From fireworks cruises to the character appearances that might just pop up, mini golf. There's just so much that we haven't even talked about yet. So definitely, if you guys are thinking of something that you want to let us know about, we didn't talk about it, and you want us to talk about it, please give us drop us a line, get us an email, let us know what it might be that we missed. We want to hear about it. Come on out to the Facebook page. We've got a community group out there. We haven't been pushing it too much lately, but we'd love to have you join us there too. We're simply Miles from Main Street on Facebook. We're Miles from Main Street on Instagram. And I believe it's Miles from Maine on Twitter. Hit us up on any of those platforms. And as I said at the beginning of the show, it's Miles from Main Street Podcast at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you about a recent trip. We'd love to hear from you about things you might do on a day that is not in a park. Let us know what those ideas might be.
Definitely. Well, that's all we got for you guys tonight. We will see you next time on Miles from Main Street.
Until next week, remember,
Some live close,
but most of us don't.
so let's talk about it.